This is episode 112 of the Steady Trade podcast with your hosts, Tim Bohen.
There's always a bigger, tougher guy out there.
And Steven Johnson.
If you start winning, you'll have an ego that goes out of control.
Today, the guys walk you through their personal favorite top 3 ways to sabotage your trading.
I am so fired up because this feels like the first episode where I really, really know what I'm talking about.
It's another great episode of Steady Trade. Enjoy.
In today's episode of the Steady Trade podcast, we've got the 3 top ways to sabotage your trading, or the 3 don'ts of trading. Steven, I don't think we talked about alcohol, illegal drugs, sleeping in. I don't think we talked about any of your top 3 favorites, but we do talk about the top 3 things that Steven and I think trip up many new traders.
I would definitely say that it's not the alcohol, the sleeping in, the illegal drugs, or the women that sabotage the trading. It's what they make you do that makes your trading be sabotaged. And some of the stuff covered is stuff like not having a plan, losing touch with reality after going on a win streak.
Boredom trading. Be sure to check it out. This was a fun episode. And there's also an Easter egg about 2/3 of the way through. See if you can pick up, like sometimes, in movies, they'll kind of insert a slight little oddity. See if you can pick that up about 2/3 of the way through in this episode. Hey everyone, Tim Bohen here. Would like to thank you for listening to the Steady Trade podcast. Really enjoy bringing it to you every week. And I've also got something great to bring to you today. We've recently partnered with Tradier, a great discount brokerage. And for $14.99 a month, you get unlimited trade commissions. No matter how many trades you make, it's $14.99 a month. And the other great thing is you can open an account with only $500. The best part about this is as you're trying to learn and grow that account, you want to minimize your costs as much as possible. So with Tradier, you can put that money back in your account instead of giving it to your broker. And that's how you grow over time. So check it out and sign up with Tradier today. As mentioned in the introduction, we're going to go over the top 3 ways you or us or all of us really sabotage our own trading. A lot of the time we talk about do this, and that's valuable, but also there's great value in what you don't do. I use this saying all the time in StocksToTrade Pro. Sometimes no trade's the best trade. People hate that, but really in reality, a lot of successful trading is not screwing up. So what we're going to talk about today, Steven has 3, I have 3. We're going to go over the top 3 ways to how to sabotage your trading. And then ideally you take these ideas and don't do those. So Steven, what's your first way to sabotage your trading? What's your best idea on how someone could sabotage their trading?
No, and just first of all, I just want to say, I am so fired up because this feels like the first episode where I really, really know what I'm talking about. I'm fired up. Like Obama said in Chicago when he announced that he was going to become president. He said, I'm fired up. Pretty fired up. But it's also because we'll go through this. Well, you go through some different psychological stages before, and you need to learn and grow through each one before you learn to be more disciplined. And the first one and the first thing that I really dealt with that was an issue for me was ego. And if we go back to Freud, I don't know how well you know Freud. I don't know how good the American education system is. I'm guessing it's not very good. We have the id,
Hey, where was your iPhone designed? Where was your MacBook Pro design? Where was your Tesla design?
That's the only shit that you guys are good at. And Tesla was in South Africa with Musk. The iPhone got built in China, and Jobs was good. Jobs was good. Yeah, that's the catch. But what was it? You had the I, the id, and the ego. It was something like that from Freud. Where was Freud from? He was European, right? He was German.
Yeah, I think Austria. Fact check.
Austria, yeah. The best research started early, but it's ego. The first problem that you'll ever encounter, and I've said this so many times as well. It's like people are like, oh, is the challenge worth it? I'm like, yeah, if you want to commit 40, 50, 60 hours a week to study the challenge, then you will get the technical data, you'll get the success examples, you'll get the case studies of what you need to learn. But then on a psychological perspective, you need to really learn how to handle yourself after that, which is where the ego comes in. But what did you have down?
So number one, and this could probably go back to the steady trade drinking game, which maybe we'll do that again this year at the Orlando conference. Hopefully we do. That was fun. So
Hope so. I just want to drink beer.
So, I mean, everybody, if this is your first episode, you probably don't know what I'm going to say. But if this is your second episode of the podcast, you know what I'm going to say. It's just not having a plan. You know, I think I've used this saying so many times, but I mean, you can, if you have a $500 laptop, an internet connection, and a couple $100, you can make a trade today. And unfortunately, that's what so many people do. You know, they go to Twitter, they go to a chat room, they join an alert service, and they just buy something. They don't know what their goal is. They don't know what their stop is. You know, they don't know why they're even buying it. Maybe they saw the top percent gainer of the day, which is something we tell you to look for. But I mean, that's just a small piece of the puzzle. And the biggest thing I think that people, you know, as new traders, you're probably going to blow up an account. You might blow up 2 or 3, but I think the biggest number one is you just go into stuff and you don't know why you're in it, you know, and then you might be green. That's the wildest thing. I've seen so many people. The reason I harp on having a plan, you buy some low float runner or you short some low float runner. You might be
which is not working right now. Which is not working right now, can I just say. You see these high volume, low float runners up 80%. You saw it today, you saw it the other day. I can't remember the tickers because I'm not quite as clever as you when it comes to remembering ticker names.
CAPR was one of them. Fran was one of them. CODX.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. But these tickers are textbook. I mean, the one today, it had a history of gapping and crapping. It had a history of gapping up and failing. But you always think, oh, lowish float, was it 12 million or whatever? Lowish float, high volume. Will this one run? But they're just gapping and crapping right now, right?
For sure, yeah. So anyway, in summary, for my number one, and what I was saying, I mean, you might be green, you might be up $500, but when you don't have a plan, so many times that 500 will become 4, 3, 2, 1, and next thing you know, you're red on a trade that was green. Okay, that happens to everybody, but that is a function of not having a plan. If you're turning winners into losers, it's because you don't have a plan.
No, and I agree with you, but I think if this was like a Star Wars series, what you're seeing is like the Phantom Menace, but we're watching it back to front. Like this is like the advice that you're giving is the prerequisite to what you should know before you even trade.
Fair enough.
Having a plan is what you should know before even trading. And my first point is ego. But to be honest, I didn't have any ego until after more than 1 year of trading because all I did was lose for a year. When I first started, I was like, I'm winning 8% of the time, 8% of trades a month, and then 12%, then 20%, then 28%. But I think your point is like the fundamentals when you first start, when you first begin. You need to learn to have a plan, and then you don't have a plan. You think you've got a plan, then you don't have a plan, and then you disobey the plan, and then you. Yep. but get that routine in. Where I went was a bit further on, a bit closer to me, and for me it was like when you win in $200 and then $200, then $200, and then you start thinking that you're winning quite a lot. And then all of a sudden you're down $800 and you don't know what's happening. And it's because your egos took over. You think that you can run all the time. You think that there's no danger in the market, and all of a sudden you lose. So I think there's good credibility in both. But I think there's more credibility in yours. The importance of having a plan and sticking to the plan and writing it down. It's so basic and simple, but it's so important. And if only we knew a way to communicate it more to the audience. Because like you can say it and I can say it, but there's no human way of stressing that it is the fundamental difference.
I just think it's
it's something, we talk about this a lot. It's like at some point, I think you just have to get sick of not following your plan, where you're like, God damn it, I'm gonna do it this time.
No, but it can be years though. It can be
I
years.
agree. Sure, yeah.
I mean, yesterday I went long, and I thought I never win when I go long. I went long on a low. You'll know the ticker, but it was a reverse split up a lot, low float, high volume.
Was it that medical device like HSGI? I think, or was that it? Or
don't think it was HSCI, but anyway, it was. I just thought, do you know what it is? I'll wait for the washout at the open. I'm not even going to wait for the double bottom. Waiting for the double bottom would have been more safe, but I thought I'm not going to wait for the double bottom. I'm gonna wait for it to wash out, and then I'm going to buy the dip and hope it rips. Dip and rip. Don't even know.
So what's your second thing?
The second point is a loss of reality, and it's the first one is like, if you start winning, you'll have an ego that goes out of control. But the second point is, if you win 3 or 4 months in a row, which is, again, it's different from, it's not beginner advice, but the loss of reality is what happens if you win 3 or 4 months in a row. You'll start thinking that you're going to make it and you're going to be a successful trader forever, and it just doesn't work like that. And the minute that you start thinking that you're successful and you're going to make it for the long term, you can take a $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 loss like I've done in the past, and you're worse off than when you started.
Yeah, I think you have to. That's a great one, and I think you have to keep that beginner's mindset. It's like, obviously, you and I both are fans of like Joe Rogan, and obviously he talks about martial arts all the time. And listen, if you think you're the best at martial arts, there's always a bigger, tougher guy out there. You're never the best. You're never done. And if it's jiu-jitsu or boxing or whatever it is, sorry to let you know, there's somebody out there tougher than you. And I think that's the same thing. You're never done in trading. Okay, I've been doing this for 12 years. I screwed up yesterday. I'll screw up again tomorrow. You have to maintain that beginner's mindset and never get too cocky and think you're somehow done or perfect or whatever.
No, and when you say Joe Rogan, there's a quote that Papa John tweeted out, and it did pretty well. It had 100 likes, 16 retweets. And just while we get on to the conference, I mean, me and you are going to have a boxing match, right, at the conference?
Yeah, I think that was, or was it boxing or was it wrestling? So I don't know.
I think it's boxing. I think it's boxing. Okay. I think me and you are having a full-blown boxing match with 16 ounces.
So I got to train. I mean, we talk so much crap during this podcast. I forgot about this. So is this, what's the format of this competition?
It's 3-minute rounds and it's fight till the death. There's pretty much no rules. Just fight till the death.
Listen, again, as a day trader, I make a living with my brain. Do we get to wear headgear or not?
I think it's, I mean, with my upper body strength and overall performance, I think it's important for your health that you wear headgear
again,
and gum shape.
So yep.
I'm not going to go hard on you, but I will go for the knockout. Do you know what I mean? Like, I will go for the knockout.
And I'm pretty confident you'll. Anyway, we can move on. Okay, so I'll get training. I'm looking forward to this now.
But
I'm gonna pull a Rocky Balboa and pick you up like he did Thunder Lips in Rocky 3 and throw you into the crowd.
I'm not even going to talk about Papa John's quote. I'm going to say, did you ever see the boxing match with Andy Ruiz? Do you know the Mexican?
I don't watch a ton about boxing. I don't recall.
But anyway, there's a Joe Rogan quote that Papa John quoted, and it was pretty inspirational. And check out his thing. But my second point is loss of reality. What's yours?
Number 2 for me is boredom trading and random trading. Okay. Listen, if you're new, you got to be trading one setup, okay? And if it's not there, like today, there was nothing that I was interested in, and if you're trying to do 5 different strategies, long, short, breakouts, breakdowns, dip buys, real stocks, low float stocks, all this stuff. If you're throwing random stuff, you will never know what works and what doesn't work, because you'll lose track of, okay, am I better at high priced? Am I better at low priced? And you need to focus on, one, maybe two setups. Then if those aren't there, okay, if you're looking at that low float recent reverse split with the press release and you're looking to buy a high day break, and if that doesn't exist today, go away. If that's your setup, go away. Watch the DVDs, watch webinars, read a book, walk the dog, go do like a quarter-mile run like Steven does and then gas out and fall down. But go outside, do something else than random or boredom trade.
No, and
mile is?
Sorry?
Do they have miles in your bizarre country? Do you know how long a quarter of a mile is?
Mate, I'm in the 1900s. No, we don't work off the mileage. Honestly, your mileage system will get wiped off the face of the planet, because the entire world works off the metric system, and it's okay, Tim. Like, it's not a big problem. I used to drive around roundabouts on the left lane, and now I drive around them on the right lane. Sometimes you've got to admit that the rest of the world has moved on.
Moved on from what, though? To a superior system?
To a system that makes better sense.
Fair enough. So anyway, that was, it kind of summarizing what I was saying is, really when it comes to that boredom and random type stuff, just as a new trader, please just, and this is mirrored in 100 episodes of the Steady Trade podcast, but I don't think it can be said enough. Just try and do one thing at a time. And damn it, if that setup isn't there, if that trade isn't there, you probably got, listen, I got a 2-page to-do list, okay? Do something else, because those silly losses will grind up your account and they screw with you mentally too. I think, and remember, everybody makes the same mistakes over and over and over again. But when I'm like, listen, my setup isn't out there, I'm not going to trade. Then I come back in the afternoon, I'm bored and I lose a couple $100. Those are the days I am the angriest. Yeah. Because I didn't, I said there's nothing out there, and then I just threw something at the wall, hoping it stayed.
Can I just say something absolutely prominent right now?
Yes.
A good Italian restaurant doesn't sell Chinese food.
Ooh.
Because it knows what it's good at doing, and it sticks to it.
Very well said. That might be the best analogy you've made in the history, in the 3-year history of the Steady Trade, or 2-year history.
And I stole it from Twitter. But isn't it good? Isn't it good?
It is a good one. Yes. So
to remember, but so my final delusion. The episode's about delusional trading, right? So my final delusion is the ultimate delusion.
Or the don'ts delusion. Hey, they both start with the letter D. They're very similar. So,
but it's don't lose track of reality, and don't. And it's and I put a tweet out yesterday or today, and it was about the fact that I've started with trading as a game of probabilities, and the less I pay attention to money, its significance or its monetary value, the better I've done. It's forget the value of the money.
100%, and that's something to tip if you haven't heard this. Tim Grittani, maybe the greatest penny stock trader ever, talks about that all the time. He says shut off your P&L on your screen. The chart should be telling you what to do. As a day trader or a short-term trader, if you're making decisions based on your P&L, the chart has probably already told you. It's probably too late. So continue your point. But
yeah, and because if you add weight and significance and value to the P&L, then you start making money and thinking you're invincible, or you start thinking this trade's going to come around, and you become delusional that way because you're down too much and you can't emotionally accept it. But if you strictly play a probability, you think 2 times out of 3 it'll do this, 1 times out of 2 it'll do this. Most likely it'll do this, but I can't be too aggressive. I'm not going to try and make too much money with it just because I feel like I want to make money today. I've got to play the probability in the right way. And 9 times out of 10, you'll not make as much money as you could, but you'll also not have that catastrophic blow up that many people have over and over by being too aggressive and greedy. Because you never know what one's going to go wrong or when the market might switch. So I think by giving less significance to money and its importance and playing the probability of the chart only, then I've done a lot better these days. Still scary, but I've done better.
It's something I teach in Stocks to Trade Pro is like, people will say, I only, hey, most traders, and I think it's a good thing. Most new traders are starting out with a small account. I mean, if you're some trust fund baby and you have a big account, good luck. But my point is, when I talk to newer traders and they're like, oh, I only made $50. I only made $150. And then I'm like, let me see the chart. And they make $1 a share on a $1 stock in 20 minutes. I'm like, listen, that is what you want to do. That's your path to long-term success, is making good trades. And don't give me this only $50, this only $150. You got to start somewhere. And especially with a small account, if you're grabbing $1 a share here and 50 cents a share tomorrow and 75 cents a share the next day, all of a sudden you don't have a small account anymore. So I totally agree with you. And, focus on being that professional profit taker. That's something we talk about too, make those green trades, stack those profits up. And man, all of a sudden that $2,000 account is a $5,000 account. It doesn't take long when you're just focusing on the best setups.
Yeah, and like another like fun target is to say the SPY or the US indexes, they'll go like 20% a year generally. So why not just try and beat the index with your small account? Try and beat 20% a year, and that's what I was starting to think. I was like, I'll compare myself to all the hedge funds and stuff, but I'll start with $600. And then when you go, I'm going on to 2,000, 2,700, 2,800 now, then that's like 6, 12, 18, 24. That's like 450%, but not in a year. That's in 6 weeks.
Right, so, right, exactly.
Providing you keep on going, that's insane. And I'm not saying that because I want you to say good job or whatever, because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. But it's just an example of a benchmark.
And I'm telling you, again, listen, if you're, obviously Steven's got years of experience now, but hey, an extra $2,000 in 6 weeks, depending on where you are in life. Maybe you've got a job, maybe you got 2 jobs, and you add an extra $2,000 in 6 weeks. That could make a big difference in a lot of people's lives. That could pay down some debt. Maybe that could, get your kid, boxing lessons, so that he can, a 6-year-old could beat up Steven, which, well, I guess a 6-year-old probably wouldn't need boxing lessons to beat up Steven. But you could do something for your family. You could, do something for your mom, whatever. That's real money. Trading low price stocks, not hitting home runs, and you turn 600 into 2,800. That's 2,200 in profits. That's real money.
Yeah, and the most important lesson of everything.
Try making that on eBay or Craigslist, or whatever, you can sell a lot of crap on eBay or Craigslist, and you're not $2,000 up in 6 weeks. So.
No, but it's tough. And the hottest battle that I've ever had to overcome is just not trading very much. It's trading like 3 to 4 times a week. And we've been saying trade 3 to 4 times a week. And you've seen Roland trade 3 to 4 times a week. Seen other good traders trade 3 to 4 times a week.
It's like the quote unquote best of the best. I say this every day in stock trade. This is one of the bad things about Twitter. It's one of the things I hate about Twitter is there's all these guys on there that are like posting all these tickers, all this in, out. And I'm like, man, it's like, it screws with the new trader's mind because they think that's the path to success. If Grattani and Roland Wolf and these guys are trading, once a day, maybe, sometimes not even once a day, do you think you as a new trader are going to outdo their results trading 20 times a day?
And it's hard, but the way I kind of learn, and I'm sure the way maybe the other guys have learned as well, is like you just get sick of watching the screen at like painstakingly watching every tick. But you also get sick of going through the rides. Like the rides I'm not talking rides as in up big swings. I'm talking about you get sick of the emotional stress of going through a trade. Like I don't want to go through that anymore. Like I've done 3 years of it. I don't want any more. So you pick and choose your battles, right?
Yep.
And when you pick
Perfect.
and choose your battles, then you don't go through it, and you only take the best ones that are worth going through the right with.
I think we might need to change the title of this podcast to like Confessions of a Recovered Dopamine Addict. You know?
Hey, like
I remember the old Steven loved that, man. The freaking wild, the high flying and then the crash to the ground. That was what Steven used to love. Now he's telling me he's done with that.
Nah, like if I make a couple of $100, the laptop is shut. I'm out. I'm done. I don't want it anymore. Like I don't need it anymore. Like I like steadily growing an account. I don't want a big win. I don't need a big win. Don't need the big win anymore. I just want the satisfaction that I'm making progress in something that I enjoy. And that's it.
I love it. So, so we'll kind of wrap up here. That's Steven's 3 don'ts. My last don't is, and drum roll, I'm sure like any long-term listener already knows what I'm going to say, but it is just not having that specific plan. Okay, I'm entering here. I'm stopping out here. I'm taking profits here. This is why I'm in this trade. I talk about that. I say if it can't fit on an index card, you got too much going on. You should be able to entries, exits, stop, and goal, and the why. Maybe you write down the float and the volume. But as a day trade, short-term day trade, you should be able to fit everything on that index card, and it should be done before you enter the trade. Okay, don't start. This is one thing that drives me nuts with newer traders. They get in the trade. Then they're like, okay, now what's my stop? Now what's my goal? You should have that all figured out in advance, and don't tell me it takes too long, okay? If you can't take 15 to 20 seconds or 30 seconds to fill this out, you're doomed. Good luck. I appreciate you listening to the podcast, but your account will blow up over and over again.
Yeah, and there's only 2 things that I want to add to that, which are really, really, really important. The first thing is, it's easier to make a plan pre-market because you've got more time to think about it, making a plan for the market open, or at 2-3 o'clock. But I think the biggest time when people fail to make a plan is 9:35, 9:40, 9:45. Something pops up last minute. They're not in a trade. They've got an itchy finger to trade. That's the time that you've got to be most cautious to take 2 seconds, take 10 minutes, form the plan. If you miss the trade, it doesn't matter. It's more important to have the plan and execute the trade well than to just dive in because
thank you for that. That's something, again, we trade these stocks because there are literally every day there's a handful of these. And if you miss, you need to be okay with missing. Because if you can't handle that FOMO, again, you're doomed long-term. Because, they talk about the 90% of traders that fail. It's because so many people are just doing random crap at 9:31 a.m. They can't, even when they win, they can't repeat it. They're like, made $500, but at halftime, they just got lucky. So be okay with missing. And you know what? If you're filling out that index card, your Evernote or your Field Notes notebook, whatever it is, and that stock spikes without you, you got tomorrow. You got next week.
Yeah.
You got next month. You got 2020. You got 2060. Okay. Be okay with missing a trade today.
Yeah. And it's not trading isn't about you having an ability to read a 1-minute tape a millisecond faster than someone else. It's not about your crazy intuitive read that you can read some tape faster than someone else. It's about you working out the probability and calculating the odds and getting in at the specific right time based on the risk reward. It's not about some instant decision. It's about a plan. And the other thing is, which was something that Kim Ann Curtin said, that Stick, she's the Wall Street coach. She was like, don't only have a plan, but be prepared for your plan to go into that tough space. So be prepared for your plan not to work, and think about how you're going to feel when that plan doesn't work, and prepare yourself to be in that mental space. So you can think, I'm in that mental space now. I'm prepared to be in that mental space. What do I need to do? I need to cut it. And I've already thought about how I'm going to cut it and how I'm going to feel when I cut it. So you're not like, oh my God, I'm emotionally overcharged and I don't want to cut it anymore.
So in summary, I always like to use this term. Those are the 3, Steven's and my top 3 don'ts of trading. And I often say, and I don't know if I could ever keep a straight face, but it's true in trading. It is quite frequently what you don't do versus what you do.
And I'm gonna.
I didn't get a laugh out of you on that, Steven.
Nah, because you know what I was thinking. I was thinking I'm so excited to have a boxing match with you at the conference. I hope it's gonna happen. Can I have your confirmation? Yes, that it's happening.
I am in, as long as we can logistically make it happen. My life insurance company binds me over. I'm in. So
okay, I'm excited. I'm gonna stop drinking and start training.
Good.
Hi, this is Nathan from San Jose, California, and I like to drive into work while listening to Steven and Tim on the Steady Trade podcast until I fired my boss and made myself my own. You too can register to win real actual prizes at their website, SteadyTrade.com, and make steady trading a real-time gig. If you really like what you hear, give the podcast a 5-star rating, write a glowing review on iTunes. I did, and this is how we say goodbye in the Silicon Valley. See you next time.